I have a question for the conservatives out there who claim to be religious. Let's start there. What kind of module do you have in your King James books and other books on religion that gives you the idea that Jesus Christ would build a wall to stop an oppressive government's citizens from seeking asylum and safety and medical attention for their families? I'm asking you this as a family member of the ones who created the Democratic Party in an effort to wake up these Trump supporters. I know it's a problem. It was a problem for the American Indian when we came here. But we have to understand something. That Statue of Liberty that sits out there in New York doesn't say go away. That Statue of Liberty in New York says bring your troubles and bring your family here and rest underneath our flag and the sovereignty of this nation created by people who love people, people who love to be individuals, and people who understand what it's like to struggle. Praise God. Now, we shot military troops halfway across the world to fight the struggle of the Kuwaitis against Saddam Hussein, not once but twice. We've shot troops around the world to stick up for all kinds of people when they were oppressed on by governments. If you take a close look at our Latin American friends who are coming over here, you'll find out that there is a collaboration between two governments that are oppressing down upon them, and they're choosing the lesser of two evils for a reason. Sewage, water, health care, and safety. And if you don't believe me, then let's take a trip to El Paso and find out. Why would you come here illegally and not stay where you are? Because they're starving to death. And because their government doesn't seem to be friendly. It doesn't seem to be doing the things that they need to do to keep them satisfied in Mexico. So let's once again go back and take a look at NAFTA. As you'll see below, we have a president in Barack Obama. We have a president in Bill Clinton. We had a president who went over to tear down walls in Europe named Ronald Reagan. I haven't seen a lot since Barack Obama to inspire me to think that civil rights matters in this country. Not locally, not through the state of Ohio, and not through the federal government. And certainly not down there on the line that divides the United States and our South American friends. It was addressed in a package called NAFTA. It was the correct formula from a Rhodes Scholar on how to fix immigration by fixing the infrastructure in Mexico and by investing like was done when they packed up the General Motors plants, packed up the Ford plants, and packed up other businesses and moved down to Mexico. Except for the dependista theory popping its head up once again, where we were not incentivized to purchase cars because the prices fell as a benefit of moving these businesses to Mexico. So you couldn't see the true profitability unless you took a look at the stock market and took a look at General Motors' recovery of their costs per shares of stock. And that's where we get blindsided by banks, ladies and gentlemen. And these banks are backing these politicians just like these oil companies are. We have to put an end to it. We have a chance to do it here in Ohio. We have a chance to do it with Sherrod Brown and his family's ownership of the Golden Lamb, and Vice President Seminarelli, and many, many more out there in the oil industries, not the least of which is my friend from Butler County, Mark Goodwin. I tried to look Mark Goodwin up the other day to have a talk with him, and I ended up with Ken Langston down there in Texas. He got him a big job, vice president, down in the great state of Texas. And these big shots from BP and these big shots from Marathon, they know that there's some problems here when it comes to the consistency of our military troops going to the Middle East to fight for civil rights when we've got civil rights violations right here at home. We have civil rights violations that have to do with opiate addictions and deaths of our youth and heroin and chlorfentanyl, and it's all coming from the cartels over in Mexico. A wall's not going to stop the need and the greed for the money from these drug-dealing cartels. So if you want to get serious about it, take a look at my RodCast on YouTube. Take a look at these welcome stations funded by people like the World Soccer League, FIFA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, and get them put up instead of these walls so we can collect the information needed to track down these drug-dealing cartels, something that the Mexican government seems to drop the ball on whenever it falls their way. And then we'll take the American government and we'll push the line down there in Mexico, just like my great-great-gruncle did, old Hickory. And we'll say, if you're not going to run your house, then we're going to run your house with you to make sure that you get it done. And that seems to be starting here in the United States of America if you take a look at things like the Freedom Act that comes from the Patriot Act that specifies that these donations that were put in to this racist, Ku Klux Klan-based Trump campaign funded terrorism, and it's punishable by charging them with treason and hanging them. And that's on the books. It is the law. So we have to be about American legislated law all day long, or else we're not doing it properly, because we can't have different classes of justice.